Instrument is ELL Classroom. Today we are going to be starting chapter 11 of the Blue Book. To complete this lesson, you will need this page, page 99 of your textbook. You do not need to print that. This page, page 100 from your textbook. You do not need to print that. And this page, page 76 from your activity book. This page I do want you to print if you are able. If you do not have access to a printer, just write the words on a separate sheet of paper. Okay? Write the sentence, actually. So let's talk about chapter 11. As you can see, there's a lot of things going on here. We have object pronouns, which I'm going to talk about on the next page, so I'm not going to worry about right now. Simple present tense. Simple present tense, remember, is how we talk about things that happen repeatedly. Habits. Something we do every day or every week. S versus non-S endings. This is good because from the feedback I've seen from people's emails, this is still an area that can be tricky, and I understand. That's why we're going over it in class, because it can be tricky. Sometimes you need an S, sometimes you don't need an S. Have versus has, and adverbs of frequency. So, vocab for this chapter is pretty simple. I am sorry about my projector. I don't know what is the matter with it. This seems to be a problem that's gradually getting worse every week. But it's still working, so I'm not going to panic. So, vocabulary, pretty simple this week. All stuff that I think you've seen before, but remember we're going to be using it a lot, so make sure you know it. Number one, year. That's this. 2009 is a year. Number two, month. That's this. May is a month. You know, also June is a month. December, you know that. Week. Week is over here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 1 week. Weeks are always 7 days. Then weekend. Weekend is Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes people count Friday night as part of the weekend too. That's the end of the week, kind of between that. That's usually when people have some time off. Number 6 over here we have morning. See, the sun's coming up. Afternoon, the sun's kind of in the middle of the sky. Evening, the sun's going down. And night, the sun is totally down and it's dark. And I think you know those. So, that's our vocab. Now let's go on to our next page, page 100, and let's talk a little bit about what we had up here, object pronouns. Object pronouns. Remember, pronouns take the place of nouns. Pronouns or words are, well, these words right here. These are our main pronouns, okay? I, he, she, it, we, you, they. Those are our pronouns. To be more specific, we could call those the subject pronouns. But there's another kind of pronouns that we call object pronouns. I'll zoom in even more if I can make that bigger for you. Alright, and that's a little too big. There. Alright. Okay? Me. Me is an object pronoun. And I think you've probably heard all these words before. Maybe you've just never thought about them. Certainly, I think most native English speakers never really think about the difference between I and me. Like, when do we say I? When do we say me? Most native English speakers just kind of get that when they're a really little kid, and they don't even think about it. They're not even aware of it, really. But the rule is that I is when you have a subject, and me is when you have an object. A more simple way to think about that is we use the word I if it comes usually before the verb, if it's what the verb is happening to. You know, I drive the car. Okay? We use the word me when me usually comes after our verb. Remember, verbs are action words. We talked about that a lot back before school closed, so I do expect you to know that. Verbs are action words. Okay. So me would be like, say, the car drove over me. Okay. I'm not the one doing it. It's happening to me. Okay. So it depends on, is it usually, you can tell if it's after a verb, and it's usually what the verb is happening to, instead of who is doing the verb. Okay? And if that still doesn't make sense, we're going to do some examples very soon, and then you'll see. So we have he, that turns into him, which again, I have to think you've heard the word him before. So I do think you probably know these words. Maybe you just haven't thought about what's the difference before. She, her, it's easy. Easy word, doesn't change. We, us, you, again, that doesn't change. And they, them. Okay? So let's look at some of these in some sentences and get a sense of it. Okay? Over here, we've got an example. Okay? Two people are talking, and she asked, how often does your boyfriend call you? Now she says, he calls me every night. Okay? So over here, we used a subject pronoun from this side, because he calls. He is the one calling. Over here, we use an object pronoun, me, because me is the one he called. Who did he call? Me. And if you think about it, you wouldn't expect someone to say he calls I every night. I think you can tell once you've been speaking English for a while. That just sounds weird. We wouldn't say that. We'd say he calls me, not he calls I. So maybe this is something you already know. Maybe. But we have to go over it to make sure. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do these. Now these, I've been skipping some of your writing assignments lately or shortening them. But this one is only one sentence. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for you to do all of them. So we'll just do number one. We'll have a look at that. So like it says over here, how often do you use your computer? Okay. So now we're going to answer with our pronouns. Answer with your pronouns. Use a subject pronoun and an object pronoun. Use the words in this box. One from over here, one from over here. Okay? Let me see if I can... There, now we can see them both at the same time. All right. So, how often do you use your computer? It's up there actually. I use it every day. Get it? We're using these words. These words take the place of these words because that's what pronouns do. I'm going to give you one more because there's a lot to work with here. So I want to make sure that you're sure you know how to do this assignment. So number two, how often do you write to your son? Okay. So the answer would be, she's the one answering. So she would say, I write to him every week. Get what we're doing? We're using these words in this box, okay? Okay, so go back and write down number one and number two, and then finish the rest of it up to number 9. The question is already written, so you just need to write one sentence with the answer. Okay, so write one sentence with the answer for each one. Pause the video, write your 9 sentences. When you're done, unpause it, and we will go over them together. Okay? So pause the video, write your sentences. All right. Did you pause the video and write your sentences? So already did number 1 and number 2. So let's start with number 3. Number 3. How often do you clean your windows? I clean them every month. And make sure you wrote them. T-H-E-M. Them. Not they, them. Okay? Number 4. How often do you visit your aunt in Minnesota? I visit her every year. Okay? How often do you wash your car? I wash it every weekend. Number 6. How often do your grandchildren call you? They call us every Sunday. Now be careful that you wrote us. Be careful you did not write they call we. That's not correct. They call us. Okay? They call us. Check your work. Check your work. Also, did you remember to put a period at the end of every sentence? Did you remember to put a capital letter at the beginning of every sentence? We're in chapter 11 now. We're pretty far into this book. You should be able to remember that at this point. Capital letter at beginning of every sentence. Period at the end of every sentence. Okay? I shouldn't have to tell you that. You should be able to remember that by this time. Number 7. How often does your boss say hello to you? She, this apparently is the boss, she says hello to me every morning. Number 8. How often do you feed the animals? I feed them every afternoon. Them, because there's more than one. How often do you think about me? I think about you all the time. Okay, so we had some practice there with our object pronouns and also with our expressions of frequency. Now let's finish up with this good old-fashioned fill in the blanks page. So go to page 76. Over here it says, what are they saying? And again, we have the object pronouns here. Me, him, her, it, us, you, them. Okay? And we're going to practice using just these words again, just to make sure we've got the hang of them. So number 1 is an example. He says, do you like me? And she answers, of course I like you. That's an easy one because you is the same. But remember, your answers are all in this box. Every answer is one of the words in this box. That's it. Just the words in the box. Okay, so I think this should be pretty simple. Just use these words in the box to fill in the blanks. So, pause the video, fill in the blanks, okay? Alright, did you pause the video and fill in the blanks? Let's go on to number 2 then. Do you like your neighbors? Of course I like them. Not they, them. Number 3. Do you like Helen? Of course I like her. Not she, her. Number 4. Do you like George? Of course I like him. Him. Pretty simple conversations here. Do you like videos? Of course I like them. Videos. More than one video, so them. 6. Do you like English? Of course I like it. It. 7. Do your friends like you? Of course they like me. 8. Do you like your new apartment? Of course I like it. Does your dog like you? Of course he likes me. And notice here they called the dog he. After all the work they gave us telling us to call dogs it, they called the dog he. So they broke their own rule, but oh well. Okay, that is the end of the first video. Good work. I will see you in the next video.